Good morning, bright suns.
Bright sun, rainy sun.
Now, we are here with Tom Fitzgerald, Disney Imagineer, and I've got to know, of all the options and possibilities with creatures and locations, how did you boil it down to Cetos and the Purgles?
Well, Scott Trowbridge, who's my Imagineering partner and works with Lucasfilm, said, I think there's something really interesting that's going to be in Ahsoka. You should go find out. So I went to the studio and I read, starting from episode 1, I read through, and by the time I got to episode 3 and saw Purgle, I said, this seems really intriguing. It's, a new creature, a new place to have an adventure up in the atmosphere with these space whales. So that seemed really intriguing, and that's how it really started, is saying this feels like it would make a great adventure. And then for the transmissions, that really came from the fans, meaning these characters that have bubbled up as fan favorites now, Mando and Grogu. They have to be in Star Tours. It's almost, I was saying earlier, it's almost like what happened with us with Pirates of the Caribbean when the films came out and Jack Sparrow became introduced. We had to add him to Pirates of the Caribbean because people would go and say, where's Jack Sparrow?
Yeah.
And I feel it's the same way in Star Tours. That's the beauty of Star Tours. People would say, where's Mando? Where's Grogu? Where's Ahsoka? Where's Andor? And each of those shows has a slightly different tone. So we took a slightly different tone with the transmissions. Grogu and Mando's played for comedy. Andor is a little mysterious, a little darker, which the series is. And Ahsoka, we went for the warm friendship of she knows R2 and to get that warmth. So that's kind of how we did it. We try and get variety in everything we do. We want to make sure any new sequence we put in there is feels like it fits naturally, but is unique enough that you go, oh, this is different.
Yeah. And the merchandising isn't too subliminal, because when you see this, you want to go and buy a Purgle. So,
do we have Purgle?
That was my next question.
I gotta go buy one.
Because I want one so bad, not
They're
life
cool.
size.
They're cool. I mean, they're in that, the creatures of Star Wars is one of the coolest things, one of the things we love. So it is, they are characters in the story. So being able to add that in gave that, I think, a fresh new sequence. It's not all fighter ships and things. They're cool creatures. And these ones fly and float and do all sorts of cool things.
Now, are there any Easter eggs that we can look for?
We created some Easter eggs and we ended up just making them the permanents because we fell in love with them too much. With the frog coming out in 3D was an Easter egg that was only going to play every so often. But, finally we were laughing all the time and said, I don't want fans to miss this, to say I didn't get that. So we had to say, let's just make it permanent.
And then I have one more question.
Yeah.
What composer did you work with
we actually used themes from all of the episodes, but for the finale, we actually, for the second half, the first half of the finale is from the composer from Ahsoka. But then we go into classic John Williams for the battle because they sort of said Star Wars. It's a mashup. The show's a mashup and musically a mashup. But we did work with the musical themes from each so that it's authentic to the series. So if you know the music from the series, you go, oh. And of course with Mando, you have to go, ooh, you've got to get that.
Yeah.
You got to get instantly that sound. And we were told to our arranger saying, we have to have it immediately so the audience goes, Mandalorian, right away. Andor's a little different kind of theme. For the Purgle, it's like we've got to have that grandiose when we come above the clouds, get that moment before we, to let 3PO go, and it's so serene, and then into the battle.
I am a Rebel Spy reject. What is the secret to becoming a Rebel Spy? 13 years, never been me. Her, 10 and a half times.
I don't, you have to ask the stormtroopers. They're it's all them.
Oh, okay. We know where we're going right now. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, look at those names to the left. They are part of the Skywalking Force, our Patreon.
Become a producer yourself and check out all the Disney Plus themed bonus content available depending on the level you subscribe.
Become a member of the elite Skywalking Force at skywalkingforce.com.